Alright, let's do this.
First of all, we know where Chihiro was heading. He was on his way
God,
to
this
exercise.
is a
So next
long
we have
boy.
to ask, why did he choose the specific tracksuit that he did?
What do you mean, the specific tracksuit?
I got it! We picked that tracksuit because it matched the one the culprit was wearing.
Okay.
So, what you're saying is, the killer was wearing the same blue tracksuit as him?
No, that's wrong.
Oh, Mondo, you moron.
Hold on a second, Mondo. What did you just say?
Huh? What'd I say?
When Celeste testified a few minutes ago, she said... She never said anything about the jacket's color. So why did you say Chihiro's blue tracksuit?
What are you? You just...
Hey, Celeste, what color was Chihiro's tracksuit?
As a matter of fact, it was blue.
Oldest trick in the book. Some people need to read that book, it seems.
And before we began the trial, did you tell anyone that?
The only one I told about any of this was you.
Then, Mondo, how did you know what color Chihiro's tracksuit was?
Because I just...
Yes?
I'm sure he saw the clothes at some point in the investigation.
No, they were destroyed, Taka.
No, that can't be it. The bag and clothes were surely disposed of by the time we began our investigation.
Then the only reason he could have known what color the tracksuit was is if he saw Cherry with it before he died. That's the only possibility.
Cherry?
Cherry? Are you talking about Chihiro?
That's quite clear, but why Cherry?
So, how about it? Did you see the tracksuit or didn't you?
Just by chance. I just happened to see it last night.
Oh, really?
He walked past me, and he was carrying the tracksuit in his hands.
It was in the bag, you buffoon.
No, that can't be it either. According to Celeste's testimony, when Celeste noticed it, Chihiro made a point of making sure the jacket was completely in the bag. If you just ran into him briefly, you couldn't possibly have seen what color the tracksuit was.
Even if you stopped and chatted for a while, you couldn't have possibly seen what color the tracksuit was.
It would appear you've dug your own grave.
Perhaps. But you handed him the shovel, didn't you? That's why you said what you did. Focus on the tracksuit and it'll be obvious who he met with? What a bunch of nonsense.
Not wrong.
Ah, now I understand. It was all one big bluff, wasn't it? Your true intention was to draw a slip of the tongue from the culprit. That's why you said you knew who did it, to put them on edge.
That's right. However, Mondo was my target all along. I had my suspicions about him from the very beginning.
Really? Did you now?
But why? What made you so suspicious?
Is it because the frickin' murder weapon was ridiculously heavy?
That's a good question.
Because I hate him. Huh? Nope.
There was a certain turning point that
Maybe?
tipped me off.
Yep. Okay.
Maybe you didn't notice it, Mondo, but you tend to refer to men and women differently.
Yeah. It's because he called Chihiro dude.
You only call guys dude. For girls, it's chick. And after he was killed, you happened to refer to him as dude. Once I picked up on that, it occurred to me that Mondo knew something we didn't.
And that's when you looked for Chihiro's penis?
You noticed such a tiny detail?
I mean, I also noticed it, but that's just because of how I knew this... That's just because I knew how this would play out, so...
Are you a witch? She's a witch! You're positively frightful!
Are you gonna say to burn her?
No, I'm not the frightful one. Not nearly as frightful as someone capable of murdering a friend.
Mondo, was it really you?
Ah, yes, alert the presses. I've said the word penis.
Did you really kill Chihiro?
I didn't kill anyone!
Okay.
You've been all over me, judging everything I say, putting words in my mouth.
You barely said anything this entire time.
What gives you the right to treat me like a goddamn criminal?
The fact that you are one?
Yeah! He would never do something like that! This is a false accusation!
It's true. My reasoning on that is pretty shaky.
That was fast.
Well, this does present us with a problem. It seems we are all out of leads.
My time has nearly come.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
That's what my little ghost friend is telling me.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Hifumi, weren't you telling me you found some evidence?
Really? What kind of evidence?
The inconclusive kind?
Actually, no. Now that I'm thinking about it here calmly, it might not be all that relevant.
Well, you should probably still present it anyway.
Jeez, does your confidence just get up and walk away? It's fine, man. Just tell us.
Yeah, it's okay, we don't bite.
If
We will yell at you.
insist, then
If you're wrong, we may all get executed, but it's fine.
here it is.
That is an handbook.
What do you have there?
Is that Chihiro's?
It happens to be an e-handbook. I found it laying on the ground, so I scooped it up.
I got it!
It's mine!
We know Chihiro's handbook was missing from the scene of the crime, right?
For a fact.
For a fact indeed.
Why did it take you this long to present it then?
I was totally sure I'd found it.
Then it must hold some clue about the culprit, right?
Must it?
Well, that's what I was
Mustard?
hoping. But it's busted. It won't even turn on.
Another one.
I imagine the culprit broke it to get rid of any evidence after the murder.
Okay, how?
That's odd. I
Updated
didn't think
autopsy
handbooks were
report.
quite so fragile.
You're right. They're not. They're totally waterproof and shock resistant. It would take an awful lot to break one.
And yet, this one does appear to be broken, as is Leon's, sitting useless in the main hall. For all your confidence, that is a remarkably high failure rate.
Indeed. 2 out of 15 is not a great rate of failure.
Do you think there might be some kind of mystery in there somewhere?
It's possible.
How precisely did the handbooks get broken?
By hitting its weak points.
I got it! You already told us before that the handbook has one weak point, didn't you?
You remember that?
It wasn't all that long ago.
Sure, maybe I let that slip, but I never told anyone what the weak point actually was.
Are you sure?
But if the handbook is supposed to never break, and 2 of them broke in quick succession, then...
Makoto will remember this.
Then we can only assume that someone's figured out its weakness. You know what the weakness is, right, Monokuma? So, what is it?
Like he's gonna tell us.
You're asking me?
I think it's a necessary piece of information if you want this to be a fair trial.
Like he cares about it being fair.
But
He just
if I
wants it to be
tell you
interesting.
And someone else decides to copy it, that would be very not
exciting.
good.
Just tell us already! Why would we want to break our own handbooks?
Oh well, I have a weakness for pushy demands. But you're sure you won't follow their example?
No.
Then allow me to make a special announcement. The weak point of my cutting-edge e-handbook is... when it's exposed to high temperatures for too long, it will suffer a meltdown and totally break! I flippin' knew it!
Did you?
You knew it?
Yeah, because I found the handbook laying on the floor of the sauna.
Huh?
The temperature in the sauna can reach over 200 degrees. Strange how you don't get burnt, huh?
How did Mondo not die in there? He was wearing clothing.
It's because as your sweat evaporates, it creates a cooling layer of air around your skin.
Except when you're wearing clothing.
If the hot air of the sauna were somehow pushed directly onto your skin, you'd definitely get fried. That layer of air would get blown away. That's why you may feel a burning when you move around. So when you're in a sauna, make sure to keep nice and still.
This has been Life Advice with Monokuma.
Interesting. I learned one new fact today.
Thank you, Taka.
That is a mere trifling speck of knowledge.
Anyway, if you found the victim's handbook in the sauna, then the killer must have been purposely trying to raise its temperature in order to break it.
Meaning the culprit somehow knew its weakness.
Because he brought his own handbook into the sauna like a moron?
But how'd they find out? Monokuma said he didn't tell anyone, right?
Indeed. Quite the mystery.
What if they found out by accident?
What do you mean by accident?
What if the killer took their own handbook into the sauna, not knowing its weakness, and it broke? They'd realize it was broken, of course, and it wouldn't be hard to figure out why. And once they had Chihiro's handbook, they knew they had an easy way to dispose of it.
I won't say it's not possible, but who would have done something like that?
I don't know, maybe the guy's stupid enough to get into a sauna with all of his clothes on?
I don't know of anyone who took their handbook into the sauna.
Yes, you do.
I might know someone who did.
Whoa, seriously?
I think the one who may have taken their handbook into the sauna was...
Gee, I wonder. Maybe it's the person we currently suspect.
Here's my answer.
Oh yeah, I guess Bianchi wouldn't have known about that. Never mind.
Didn't it?
What? Why? Why do you keep accusing him?
Mondo and Taka had an endurance contest in the sauna not
It
too
was
long
Leon!
ago, remember? And for the contest, Mondo just so happened to keep his school uniform on.
That is not his school uniform. You cannot convince me that that is his school uniform.
But little did he realize, he'd also left his handbook in one of his uniform pockets. And when it was all over, Mondo discovered that taking your handbook into the sauna could easily destroy it.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna go there, Soul, but it had to be done. So I thank you for doing so.
No, wait, hold on. You've got it all wrong. He would never kill. I don't accept this. Show me the proof. The actual solid proof.
Alright. Let's go. Oh god.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that what Makoto said is right.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
See? Look! Makoto was wrong after all! Mondo wouldn't hurt a fly!
He's a gang leader, dude.
Let's test Makoto's assertion. If what he says is correct, then Mondo, you broke your own handbook.
In other words, if Mondo's handbook is actually broken, then that proves that...
Okay, so here's where I can check my freaking things. Aha. I see.
Well, my goddamn handbook works just fine.
No, that's wrong.
He took Leon's.
Mondo, the handbook you have right now, is it really yours?
No.
The fuck is that supposed to mean?
The broken handbook that was in the main hall. Isn't that one actually yours?
What the heck are you talking about?
What I mean is, I think Mondo swapped his handbook out for one that actually works. I think he took Leon's handbook and replaced it with his own. After all, Monokuma said himself that Leon's handbook never should have broken.
That's right! The punishment it suffered wasn't nearly enough to destroy it.
No, nothing would break if you threw several hundred baseballs at it.
So then, the broken handbook in the main hall is actually Mondo's, which would mean that the handbook Mondo has right now is actually Leon's, yes?
But doesn't that violate the school regulation that says loaning out your handbook is prohibited?
No. No, it does not. We've been over this.
Well, here's how I look at it. There is a rule about loaning your handbook to another student, but if they're dead, they're not a student. It's kind of a gray area, I admit. But no worries. If anything, it just makes things more interesting.
And that's what you're all about, isn't it?
As such, I decree that exchanging handbooks with a corpse is not a violation of the rules.
Thanks.
Well, Mondo, if I'm wrong about this, you're welcome to say so. I'm happy to admit I made a mistake, but...
I would break if you threw several hundred baseballs at me. Yeah, me too, buddy.
Son of a bitch. What's wrong, bro? Come on, tell him he's wrong. You are wrong. You have to be wrong. Everything you just said is wrong. You made it all up.
Okay, then why don't we look back on this case one more time, from the beginning?
Oh, is it comic book time?
That way, everything will become clear, and we'll all see if I was right or wrong.
It's comic book time. Yep. And then Chihiro's like, okay, bye. Alright, handbook. Do. What? But there's no picture of the boys one. What? Oh, there it is. Good lord. I'm blind. Weapon the killer used was one of these guys. Bonk. It's probably not that, actually. It's, yeah. It's her face! Something else. It was, of course, the posters. Killer moved to the... Thank you. Yep. And then Byakuya was all Byakuya-y about it. It could only have been an extension cord. Yep. I swear I'm holding down the mouse button properly. Do blood lust. I guess this is supposed to be the sauna. Well, it may have broke. Let's do this. How right are we?
Here's exactly what happened. First, let's take a look back to before the incident.
Jams.
Last night, Celeste saw Chihiro in the warehouse, correct? At the time, she was apparently stuffing something into a duffel bag.
Apparently.
That something was a blue tracksuit. You can confirm this, right, Celeste? With bag in hand, Chihiro headed out, even though it was officially nighttime. She made her way to the locker room, specifically the boys' locker room. But how could the victim, who was apparently a girl, access the boys' locker room?
Easily.
Simple, because she was really a he.
Once again, just having a penis does not necessarily make you a he.
Which is why he was able to use his own e-handbook to gain entrance to the boys' locker room. Once inside, he met with someone there. And the person he met was the one who killed him. It seems likely that the killer grabbed the nearby dumbbell, approached the unsuspecting Chihiro, and attacked him. And that's where the bloodstains on the poster and carpeting in the boys' locker room came from. It was likely in the heat of the moment. The body was arranged, but the murder itself felt unplanned.
That is indeed a missed opportunity. Also, I didn't remember that being discussed, like, ever. I guess him wanting to get stronger kind of makes sense with that.
Which is why the killer hurried to try and hide the act. First, pulling up the bloodstained carpet. Then, removing the bloody poster. And finally carrying the corpse into the girls' locker room. A girl's handbook was necessary to get into the locker room, of course. But this alone doesn't prove that the killer was necessarily a girl. After all, Sayaka and Junko's handbooks had been placed in the main hall. Using one of those, a boy could get into the girls' locker room without much problem. And that's exactly how the killer did it. With the carpet and the poster they brought with them, they got to work. They changed the layout of the boys' and girls' locker room in what you might call a crime scene switch.
Is that what you might call it? Because I don't think that's a phrase.
That could have been the end of things, but no.
Creepy smile.
Byakuya discovered the body and decided to intervene in the situation, making things even more complicated. So, after stumbling on the crime scene, he went and grabbed the extension cord from the library, and then he got to work. He used the cord to string up Chihiro's lifeless body. Then, using the victim's own blood, he left a grisly message there at the scene of the crime. He wanted to create the illusion that Genocide Jack was responsible for the slaughter.
And he failed!
And around the same time that Byakuya was putting together this facade,
Because we are too smart for him.
the killer, having already disposed of Chihiro's bag and other belongings, arrived at the sauna.
Yeah, we're too smart for him also.
There, they planned to destroy the last piece of evidence, Chihiro's handbook. And just as the killer expected, the steamy sauna was enough to ruin the electronic gadget. Somehow, the killer knew that the handbook couldn't stand up to the heat of the sauna. And the reason they knew that is because the sauna had already wrecked their own handbook. And that's how it all played out. Isn't that right, Mondo Orada?
That hair, though.